Hello everybody and welcome back to Kerbal Space Program 2, where it is currently very dark here at the KSC, and we need to decide what our next mission is going to be. So we can do any of these, and some of them are going to be significantly easier than others. The most difficult one here will definitely be this, and we might want to wait until we have all of the technology unlocked, or at least as much as we're going to get this one done. Yeah, that might not be a bad idea. So, this here. Launch a vessel with a lander can and perform a crew observation at Copy Rock. That should be a fairly easy thing to get done, right? That's not exactly the easiest thing that we've got here, but it's pretty easy in theory. This is landing at a particular location on Laythe, which will be mildly more complicated. This is a radiation observation in a particular biome on Pol, which that should be very easy. We can just take our, Tylo lander out there and have so much fuel for that. That would be absolutely fine. Plant a flag on the Eye of Dress. Easy. And then this would be entering Elu's Sphere of Influence. That's also in the category of easy. Okay, so which of these do we actually want to get done? This is definitely the hard one. Let's head over to R&D and take a look at what we're missing at this point. So, if we head over here, we've got those all cleaned up. Nuclear power would give us access to fission reactor, the XXL Colossus solar panel, as well as a larger rechargeable battery. Probably not the biggest of deals there. This would be, some Airstream fairings, an 8-seat crew cabin. That would probably be useful for that mission to... Actually, that would be very useful for that mission to Eve. So that's noted. Clampotron docking ports, not the biggest of deals. And then, airliners over here. Yeah, whatever. So this is almost certainly going to be a useful thing for us to get. Also, multi-engine mounts on a 3.75 meter fairing, that seems pretty good too. I'm going to grab this right now. Now, we've got 1,800 science left, and that's probably not enough to get anything out over here. But I'm wondering, aquatic sciences, okay. XL hydrogen tanks. That would be a fairly useful thing as well. So XL construction here, a mini lab orbital report. A lot of these things are fairly unnecessary for what we're looking to do. XL hydrogen tanks is, I think, a good target for us. So, using that knowledge, let's hop over to mission control and say, we need 6,000, right? So what if we were to do either, that's 3,000, this is 3,000. Planting a flag on the Eye of Dress. Why is this so much more than this? This seems like a less complicated mission to me than this. I don't know, that's kind of strange. We could definitely just go out to Dress using our existing Tylo lander, right? So if we were to lift off that Tylo lander, this is not the correct vehicle here. If we were to lift off the Tylo lander, which I guess is actually the Moho Lander 2? Sure, I think. Let's load this. And the question is, when these hydrogen engines fire... And yeah, we know that this is a problem, and we should actually just get rid of these, which I'm going to do. That'll save us some weight, we'll just land on the engines. When we fire these nuclear engines, what is our thrust to weight going to be over Dress? It's almost certainly going to be higher than it was over Tylo, right? Yeah, 15.74. So this is a significantly easier mission in theory. The question is, can we get this into orbit cleanly with all of this detachment? And that is definitely a question. It might take a couple of attempts to get this to go properly. It's just kind of random whether it works or not. But that's just the nature of this sort of onion staging, right? Okay, let's see if this thing shakes itself apart on the pad. Kinda. And let's just lift it off. Let's see what happens here. What could possibly go wrong with this? Oh, boy. Wow, look at them just wiggle all around. Do they have struts? I'm not convinced that these have struts. They definitely did when we lifted it off before, but the way they're moving indicates to me that they don't. And this oscillation is definitely building up. Okay, let's revert that back and let's check to see if they have struts, because they definitely should. Maybe I loaded the wrong vehicle? I'm not entirely sure here. But they were not acting like they had struts. So we can certainly strut them on, and that will help matters on that regard, for sure. They definitely had struts when we took off last time, so there's that. So let's head on down over this way and take a quick look inside here. Yeah, I don't see any struts there. Okay, I'm not sure where the struts went, but whatever. So this should be, I think, on 8x symmetry, and we would strut it here. And strut it here. And then down here as well. And down here as well. And then I'm going to strut them together like this. A pair there. And then a pair here. And that should do it. They should now be nice and solid. I don't know why those struts weren't there previously. I'm quite certain they were, in fact. I don't know where they went. Maybe KSP2 forgot to save them. But whatever, this otherwise seems reasonably fine. So all we're doing here is we're going to dress, right? And this is way overkill for that. I just didn't want to have to redesign a vehicle for it. So let's lift this off now that these are much more solidly positioned. I do not like the angle we're taking here. Are we going to collide with the tower? No, we're going to clear it. So we're okay on that front, I guess. Cool. So this is, of course, an absolutely insane vehicle. We already knew that. This is not shocking in the slightest. But let's just lift this thing off, and we're, of course, going to bring it up into orbit. All we've got in here is Jeb, and in theory, that's all we need. The real question at this point is, how are our detachments going to end up going? Also, what do we have on top of this? No fuel? No fuel. Okay, that's fine. I'm not too concerned about that, then. So up we go, and it is still kind of dark, but our SRBs are definitely emitting a lot of light. No doubt about that. And we know that this vehicle, if we get it into orbit, will be absolutely fine for going to Dres and landing wherever we need to on Dres. So that's perfect. We're going to get ourselves a pretty hefty chunk of science from that, in theory. And that'll be wonderful. That will allow us to unlock that final part that I feel like we really, really want for the Eve mission. And then we're probably going to start working on the Eve mission. That's going to be a hefty design process. The real question is, how are we going to handle testing it? I think we're just going to have to back of the envelope it and hope we're correct. The other question is, how are we going to go about finding a location to land on Eve? Because we're going to need a location that is, well, for one thing, on land, not in Explodium. So that is definitely going to be a concern. Another concern is going to be bringing along with us enough DV to take off. Now, landing on Eve should not be a problem. As long as we have enough heat sinking capacity, it'll be okay. So we'll need heat shields. We might need some sort of radiators, but that's probably not effective in the atmosphere if I had to guess. So that's all very concerning, I'll say. We've got an apoapsis of about 17 kilometers right now. We should focus in on this current mission, and let's go over to ProGrid. And we're going to flip over to orbital prograde, and we're going to start to turn here. And we're just going to lock to prograde. Hopefully we're not going to overshoot this and tumble. That would be problematic. Ooh. We are indeed overshooting it here. How far over are we going to tumble? I did not expect to have this issue. I've done this in the past at this altitude and did not have a problem. We're losing vertical speed right now, which is quite bad. We are able to get it under control, but that was a big tumble. That is a significantly different outcome than I've had with this craft in the past. Okay. I mean, we can compensate for it. So I'm going to compensate for it by moving us over this way a bit. And putting us about here or so. But it's certainly not ideal. We're going to be losing our SRBs shortly, and this is going to almost guaranteed be a bad detachment because of that. So if that's the case, then we're going to have to go straight up. We'll see if the detachment ends up working, but we're just going to settle in here for the moment. We really need to be back on prograde now, though, and I'm going to head over there. SRBs are detaching, and we don't want to get rid of them during this movement. So yeah, losing attitude there is really bad timing for that. I did not have that issue previously, so that's something new. That's noted. We're going to be ditching these SRBs. We're relatively stable-ish right now. Let's get rid of them and see if it's a clean detachment. I would be honestly kind of shocked if this was a clean... Wow, that's loud. That was really loud. I would honestly be kind of shocked if this was a clean detachment, and it was. Remarkable. Okay. Well, we're at an apoapsis of about 50 kilometers right now, and we did manage to get a fair amount of horizontal velocity out of that. We did lose a little bit of vertical velocity, but that's okay. This will definitely carry us to orbit. I'm not concerned about that. We can see time to apoapsis is going up right now. We've got lots of fuel left in these outer stages. So this seems good, even with the tumble. I'm frankly surprised that that worked, but we'll take it. We will absolutely take that. So an apoapsis of... Ooh, we froze for a moment there, and now the heat gauge appears and is just steadily going down. Okay. Our altitude is getting up high enough that we shouldn't have a heat issue. Apoapsis is currently 65 kilometers. What is this that is heating here? Is this... Okay, that's a Clampatron Senior there, just in case we need, like, a refuel or something. That's fine. We should not need a refuel for this flight. So even if that were to burn off, we should be absolutely okay here. Cool. Apoapsis of 77 kilometers. We're going to be a little off on our inclination, but that's fine. I'm not too concerned about it. 83 kilometers, and that's starting to go up quickly. So let's just continue to push our way up to, I don't know, somewhere around 250. That'll be fine. We're going to be ditching these engines fairly soon, though. I would rather not ditch them in the atmosphere. So maybe not targeting 250. Let's just shut down these engines now, and we'll target right here. And we'll set up a burn at the apoapsis here in about 3 minutes, and that's going to be a circularization burn like so. Okay, this is fine. It's not going to be perfect, but it's good enough. So we're going to want to align to that node. We're at 60 kilometers right now, and we can watch our electric charge just vanishing. This is not shocking. We're going to have a hard time turning here, but we're going to do our best. We're going to have to gimbal most of this, and that's understood. Turning is going to be a whole thing, certainly until we get rid of this stage, but until we get rid of this stage, most likely, it's going to be a thing. So that's fine. We've got 153 meters per second left here. We are in space as of almost now. As of now. It's kind of too dark to see where our solar panels are, so I'm also noting they're not in the action group there. So we can't actually extend our solar panels at this moment, and we're working on getting ourselves turned over here. It's mostly giving us rotational velocity, which is not ideal. We need to commence this burn in about 2.5 minutes, so we do have some time to get turning over there, but turning is going to be a very slow endeavor. No doubt about that. But I mean, with this vehicle, that was always going to be the case. We are not surprised about that one. I think we've almost started to turn. Almost. Is this a solar panel? It is. Let's extend that solar panel, so we have some amount of power, but I can't really see where the solar panels are. It's too dark. We're going to have to wait until we get into the light. We're not going to get any power flow from them anyway, obviously. So I'm going to cut out this portion of the turn here, and we'll come back when we're a little bit closer to starting this burn. See you guys in just a moment. Okay, so here we are, and we are currently 3 things. 1, almost turned. 2, almost at the burn time. And 3, almost out of electric charge. Now, I did manage to get all of our solar panels extended, so that is absolutely wonderful. And we're going to be having some amount of light here fairly soon. But we're very, very close to the burn marker here, and I want to just warp towards this burn a little bit. 30 seconds. 20, 10, and let's pull this on back. 5, 4, 3, these are very long seconds. 2, 1, and monk. Okay, so we're going to burn out these tanks very, very quickly. Then we're going to separate. This should be a clean separation in theory. We're clear. Okay, beautiful. So that is perfect. This is going to be about a 2-minute burn here. And we just need to, of course, get ourselves enough orbital velocity to achieve orbit at this point. So that's fine. We should have the thrust to weight to do it. Although I can see we're going to be a little inefficient, but it's fine, I think. We're going to warp this forward a little bit. We've got about 1:20 left in this burn. A minute at this point. 50 seconds. 40. 30. 20. Let's come out of this burn, or rather out of this warp at this point. 10 seconds left in the burn, and we just want to get the periapsis up into orbit. That is our current goal. Now we're past the apoapsis at this point. This burn probably should have happened a little earlier, but with our turn rate, that wasn't necessarily an option. So that seems fine. The stop burn timing is clearly wrong, but that's okay. We're targeting the periapsis here being 70, and the apoapsis is going up right now as well. Inefficient, to be sure, but we're officially in orbit. Okay, so that's fine. From here, we can take this wherever we want. And the answer is, of course, we want to take it to Dres. And that's exactly what we're going to do. So, for right now, Dres is going to become our target, and we're going to set that as our target. So we're going to want to go away from the sun. So we're going to want to burn on this side, if I recall correctly. Let's see if that ends up working. It kind of depends on whether we're going prograde or retrograde as well. Right now we're going prograde. And we're going to head out this direction. And we want to push ourselves out to... Okay, yep, other side. Sounds good. We want to push ourselves out to around the Dunan orbit or so. So let's grab this guy. No, that is not what I wanted to grab. Okay, let's get rid of it, and let's start over. Fantastic. We're going to prograde burn over here, and that's pushing us the correct directionality, I think. Yes, it definitely is. That's pushing us well beyond the orbit of Duna right there. So let's pull that back a little bit to be about here or so. And we can see we're going to need a 5-degree inclination change. That's fine. So that seems absolutely wonderful. We're going to align for that burn. That's going to take us a while to do. Actually, that's right up over here. It's not going to be so bad. If only we could physics warp this turn. There are ways that you can do it in atmosphere. You can physics warp and still hold attitude that way. But I've not found how you do it in space. It may be possible. It may not. However, I will say this. This turn is going much more swift. So that looks solid. We could turn off the SAS at this point. The sun is actually coming out here, so we're going to start getting some amount of power flow through our solar panels. That's excellent. We kind of need that. We've been reliant on our alternator throughout the night, and that only happens when we are actually, like, you know, actively burning our engine. So we'll just get in position for this burn, which we're almost in already. Our turn rate is not too bad now that we've ditched those side stages. So this looks absolutely okay. We're currently about 26 minutes from starting this burn. And it's going to be a 4-minute and 24-second burn. But we'll have to warp our way around to it. Once we get into position here, or very close to it, we can start our warp. So right about... Okay, this is going to be a little longer than I anticipated. Right about now-ish, we're pretty close to the marker. I want to get a little bit closer than this. We can definitely get a little more lined up. But this is good enough. So let's warp on forward. And get our electric charge recharged. Looks fantastic. And we're going to be going back into the dark side, but our electric charge is full at this point. Our solar panels are extended. This is absolutely fine. Okay, so we're about 30 seconds away at this point. I would warp forward, but we're not quite on the maneuver marker. So let's just let this turn for the last 30 seconds or so. We're very close to being on the maneuver marker. We probably don't need all 30 seconds. No, we're pretty much on the marker right now. So let's warp forward a little bit. 10 seconds. And 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1... mark. That 1 second was very long. The others were not quite as long. I don't know. Time is weird in this game. There's no real doubt about that. So we're just going to burn our way through this. That's going to be about a 4-minute and 15-second burn. So we're definitely going to warp some of this burn. Just making sure that our engine is actually affecting our apoapsis as we warp through it, and it is. So that is fantastic. We've got about 2 minutes left in this burn now. We're about halfway through it. And this is going to be the majority of fuel in this stage, but this is fine. This stage is entirely gravy at this point. So that looks good. We're in escape velocity right now and just continuing to burn our way out of here. Okay, so about 10 seconds left in the burn here, and the sun is coming up. Nice. We don't need electric charge right now, but this'll do. So 6, 5... 4, 3, 2, 1, mark. This should be good enough. We don't need to hit this particularly precisely. We're just angling to be out just beyond the orbit of Duna. And yeah, this is fine. Absolutely A-okay. So at this point, we want to warp forward and start doing our orbital mechanics for a rendezvous with Dres. But it is time to put a cut in here, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. And next episode, we're going to head over to Dres, and with any luck, we're going to get ourselves our landing. Although I do want to check, where on Dres are we targeting? That is equatorial. Interesting. Also, Dres has rings. Very interesting. Well, that is definitely somewhere we are going next episode. You can leave your offerings to the engagement gods. I can't believe this worked on the first try. That was remarkable. In the form of... I kind of messed up my outro there. let me start that over. You can leave your offerings to the engagement gods in the form of likes, comments, subscribes, and bell ringings, and a very special thank you to all of the channel members for making this video possible, including ALS Gamer, Atala, Andy McGar, Ali Lee, Dark Horse, Upper Cumberland Gamers, Nick Smarty, Dimitri H, Punching the Microphone, Tommy, Kentogan, and all the rest. And of course, you. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to support the channel, you can click the join button down below the video, and as always, I will see you all next time.